The high rollers are out tonight. This is Sega Masters. Before we delve into the subject of today's video, I should point out we're now entering what many felt at the time were possibly the final days of the Master System in the US market. As the summer months of 1989 gave way to autumn, it certainly appeared the console didn't have much if any future in this region, and it's easy to see why. Sega's long-awaited 16-bit Genesis console had finally made its North American debut in late August, and was immediately being anointed as the company's new best hope to stand up against the seemingly unstoppable Nintendo juggernaut. Despite Sega pledging to continue supporting the Master System alongside their new champion, even announcing a number of upcoming titles at the summer CES, it was obvious most of their efforts and resources would be devoted toward helping their 16-bit console succeed where its 8-bit counterpart seemingly faltered in their quest for the US video game crown. Not to mention Sega's contract with Tonka, who had been handling the Master System's distribution and marketing in the States for the better part of 2 years, was about to expire and not likely to be renewed after the alliance failed to produce the results either side was hoping for. And Tonka was clearly ready to move on from the whole venture at this point. So it was no surprise that the remaining months of 1989 would see but a small handful of releases appear for the Master System in the US, and it indeed appeared it wouldn't be long before the 8-bit platform was cast aside by Sega completely in this region, just as it was in its native Japan earlier in the year. Among the final US releases under Tonka stewardship is today's spotlight, Casino Games. Designed by Compile for Sega as something of a follow-up to their earlier multi-game title Parlor Games, this card provides the Master System with another game genre that was apparently a must for consoles, the gambling simulator. Going all the way back to the early days of the Atari 2600, digital renditions of poker, blackjack, and other famous casino games with chance have been a somewhat popular part of any console's library. Would-be card sharks are just enamored with the opportunity to try their luck at these contests without the risk of losing any real money. Even Nintendo's console wasn't exempt, as a few gambling simulators were also popping up on the NES around this time, most notably HAL's event-driven Vegas Dream, and SoFail's Casino Kid with its Dragon Quest-esque navigation. And now the Master System had a casino simulator of their own. When you first boot the cartridge up, you're invited to enter your name as well as choose a male or female prefix, though the choice is pretty much irrelevant since you won't have an on-screen avatar. Once that's done with, you're greeted by this friendly hostess who asks if you have an account with them, which is the game's password. Should you indicate you are indeed a new player, you're given $500 to start your gambling odyssey with. Then you're shown the navigation menu showing the available contests to wager your cash on. Though the choices are rather limited at this casino, as you have the option of a card game, the slot machines, and for whatever reason, pinball. Selecting card game brings up 3 types of games to choose from, starting with the old standby poker, which is easily the best game in this collection. This version of poker is strictly a one-on-one battle against an opponent of your choosing, each of which has a different playstyle and level of difficulty. After you're both ante-in, you're dealt your hand for some standard 5-card draw with the standard rules in effect. You're then given the option to bet, pass, or fold, and after your opponent makes his or her choice, you're allowed to swap out any of your cards, hoping to build a winning combination. Of course, the real trick to succeed in this game is to learn how to read your opponent's face to possibly determine what kind of hand they might have. Their expressions and actions can often act as a clue as to whether it's better to call, raise, or even fold to cut your losses. Or you can even try bluffing and hope they fall for it. While this simulation of poker isn't too different from similar offerings, it is actually fun and engaging for what it is. The interface is simple to understand and navigate through, and your computer opponents are mostly fair and beatable, though they do have their lucky moments at times. Their reactions add a nice bit of personality as well. Next is the simplest and fastest moving contest, blackjack, or 21 as it's also referred to. Here you go one-on-one against the house, represented by the dealer, and the task is simple. Come the closest to reaching 21 without going over. After you place your bet, you're dealt your cards and can either hit for another card or stand pat. Again, the standard rules are followed, and depending on the situation, you may be offered additional opportunities to split your hand, double down, or even purchase insurance from your adversary. Again, this sim doesn't really offer anything different from other blackjack contests, but does its job for the most part and can even be addictively challenging. Though don't be surprised if the dealer suddenly goes on a hot streak, which can get a tad discouraging. As you're wagering your funds through the different contests, you're also treated to some bright, clear, vibrant visuals that are easy in the eyes and contain some smooth animation as well. A small selection of background tunes also look to add to the Vegas-esque atmosphere, and while a few of them aren't even catchy, they start to drawn on after a short time. And like always, the few sound effects are just there and don't really contribute to anything. Unfortunately, the other contests featured on this cartridge don't quite measure up to poker and blackjack. The third card game is an especially odd choice, Baccarat, as it's not one of the more popular card games in the States. In fact, if anything, it's mainly known as the casino contest James Bond enjoyed playing in some of his earlier films. And even that was changed over to poker in the later flicks of the series. Again, it's you versus the dealer, though this time you just merely sit there as 2 or 3 cards are dealt out. Then you place your bet before the cards are turned over. Whomever has the higher single-digit total wins, and 10 values are subtracted from the total score. While poker and blackjack are dependent on skill, Baccarat is based entirely on luck since you can't actually do anything to affect the outcome. As a result, it won't hold your interest for very long, and you'll be itching for something a little more challenging and interactive. Why Compile chose this of anything to include in this collection is anyone's guess. Unlike most other Vegas sims, which let you wager your money indefinitely with no endgame, Casino Games does contain a natural goal for you to accomplish. Should you successfully gamble your way to a total of $1 million, you're rewarded with what can be considered the good ending. Since reaching that goal will take some time, this card offers a helpful password to save your progress, which can be obtained at any time. On the other hand, you're also treated to a rather tragic yet humorous cutscene should you lose all your money and be forced to leave the casino with empty pockets. The other option to add to or subtract from your cash stack is the slot machine, which is what you'd expect. And you barely do anything here as well. You just place tokens into the machine indicating how many lines you're betting on, and you can double or triple down your bet on each line. Then you just pull the lever and see what happens, whether you get a winning payout or just lose your money. It quickly gets monotonous just pulling the lever and hoping for the best, with you not able to do anything to change the outcome. Plus, the amount of money you lose will always be greater than the amount you win, unless you somehow hit the jackpot, just like in real life. So you probably won't spend too much time with the one-armed bandit. Finally, there's the oddball of this collection, Pinball, which is intended to simply offer respite from all the gambling as there's no money to be won or lost. All you're playing for is a high score. While a nice idea in theory, the execution is sadly lacking since all you get is a rather blah basic table sporting a few standard bumpers, targets, and spinners. You'd think a casino branded machine would contain a lot more flash and flair than what you're given here. Granted, this pinball exercise does play okay with some decent ball physics, and there are 3 different angles to adjust the difficulty, yet the lack of any real bells, whistles, or any special bonuses to spice up the action won't keep you interested for very long, especially since your final score has no bearing on your total cash. And that's all Casino Games offers for Sega Vegas aficionados. Master System gamers will appreciate having perfectly enjoyable versions of blackjack and poker available for their console, but as a whole this collection feels rather limited and lacking in depth. You'll be wondering why Baccarat and a pointless pinball game were included instead of the more popular casino staples, such as craps, keno, and even roulette wheel. Any one of those would have given this game much more variety. On top of that, once you've reached the $1 million mark and seen the ending, you'll have little reason to play this collection again since nothing else is unlocked. Overall, Casino Games isn't completely bust out, but you'll likely find yourself drawn to the gambling titles found on other consoles offering a better selection of contests to risk your virtual bankroll on.